into the middle ring. Fortunately, you have that ruined temple of Aletheia as a landmark, so you know where you are. Slipping through the shadows and ducking behind cover as various horrors move past, you make a good time penetrating deeper into the city. It is not long before you spot the hanging sign of the Luring Virgin Inn. It's fully nighttime now. The inn is well lit by a nearby burning house. Light flickers through a shattered window on the ground floor of the inn. Beyond the inn, the buildings are mostly intact. I can use the roofs, you think. You know the roofs around here. You have used them more than once. Buying a dress for that roof vampire, Irenova, seems like a long time ago. No doubt she's enjoying herself with all this chaos. Plenty to eat if she's alive. There's an alley nearby that you have used before to scale up to the roof. Whether it will be safer to travel off the roofs with all the flying monsters about, well, that's another matter. As you approach the alley, you hear a high-pitched scream from the inn. No, no, comes a woman's voice. It's a familiar voice. You hurry to the inn. You hurry to the front entrance of the inn. The door must have been busted open as it is hanging open on one hinge. On the bar lies Pyria, her lower dress ripped away, exposing her legs, which have barbs. Which have barbs? Her legs have barbs on them? Why the fuck? Her lower leg dress ripped away, exposing her legs, which have barbs resembling large porcupine quills stuck into her. Oh, they're torturing her? Her skin is smeared with blood. Her ankles are tied together as are her wrists. She screams and thrashes under her restraints. A demon standing nearby, holding a severed head by the hair. You think I recognize the face? What? You recognize the face of the head as belonging to the barkeeper. Kiss, kiss, shouts the demon in the common tongue. That's fucking funny. As it cackles and presses the face to the severed head against Pyria's face. He turns away from the demon, a thin grey-skinned monster with the body of a large man, wearing only a breastplate. He has a porcupine-like quill sticking out in odd tufts, but otherwise his skin is bare and muscled. Except for a great deal of hair over his groin and buttocks, he has the head of a jackal or some kind of wild dog. He pulls one of the quills out of his shoulder. The demon's jackal, like a tongue lolls out of his jaws. You guess that he's enjoying himself. Another victim is tied up on the nearby table. It is the wood elf, the husband of Pyria. Like his wife, he is thrashing against his bonds. One of his pointy elven ears have been cut off, the side of the head covered in blood, matting his hair. Another demon stands over him. This demon is naked, and this man-like body is covered in massive boils. The upper part of the face is scaled like a snake with red points within his eye socket. His lower jaw, his mouth, jaw, neck are that of a clean-shaven young man with a nice jawline, strong chin, and part of his skin is free of the boils. His handsome lips are smiling now as he holds a bloody small fleshy object to the elf's face. Oh, of course, he's feeding him his own ear, says Egra with a bored tone. But it does that to all the elves. Eyes fixed upon the large battle axe leaned up against the table with a chipped, bloody blade. Obviously, it was gotten a good measure of recent use. The impatient demon gives up on prompting the elf to eat the ear willingly and commences to pry the elf's mouth open with his one claw and shoves the ear in with his other. All that trouble, I bet he'll just spit out the ear anyway, says Egra. Now, champion, shall we move on? I'm sure there's a great deal more fleeing to do. They're my friends, you say. These? Really? I'm going to save them. That's what a hero would do. This is so cringe. Like, I'm so fucking hardcore cringing right now. Your friends. Oh, I think calling that elf man your friend is a stretch. Last time you saw him, he was trying to kill you. As you recall, you helped me rob him, you say. I have no love for that elf, but he does not deserve to be tortured to death. Won't let them torture Pyria. Do not ask for my aid then, says Egra. I'd rather not waste my father's power here. What's two more dead in the slaughter? Jackal-headed demon plucks another quill from his skin and stabs in Pyria's lovely leg, making her scream. The jackal raises his head and lets out a hideous mocking scream of his own. Suppose I could offer you a transformation in one of those Orthax demons. Egra says nonchalantly. I'd rather not, because I'd rather not. I don't think I should do the fucking Orthax demon, because it's just a waste of power. I don't really care for these guys that much. From where you are, you have a clear shot with your bow at the demons. The scaly demon being a few meters closer. Another option is try to creep in and circle around for a close-up attack from behind with your sword. I think I'm just gonna shoot them with the bow, because I don't know if that's a good idea to jump into the fray and get surrounded and shit. So let's just shoot them with a bow. You unsling your bow, notch an arrow, take careful aim. The half-demon snake looks up at you just as you fire. Your arrow punches into his throat. He gurgles as he clutches the shaft of the arrow. You draw another arrow and notch it. The jackal leaves Pyria and charges at you, his claws out. Life decreases 2. You fire and striking the jackal demon square in the chest. He howls and quills shoot out of his body, peppering you with pain. You switch to your sword and rush forward. Your blade blazing with righteous fire. The wounded jackal demon swipes at you, but your blade slices through his claws and decapitating the beast. The snake skull monster has pulled your arrow from his throat and now turns to. Is he not dead? It was in his throat, you know. You charge. Several of the pustules on his body erupt with a pop. Life decreases to even more. Green pus shoots forth from the demon's spent boils, burning through your tunic into your chest. The demon picks up his battle axe, but as he raises his weapon, you cleave into his knobby knuckles, making him scream out piteously. You then bury your blade into his scaly skull. His red point eyes extinguished, the body slumps to the floor. Well, you made quick work of them. I guess it was quick work, but I also took loads of damage. Normally you say something sarcastic about her not helping, but the pain from the searing acid substance on your chest is all you can think of. Desperately pull your tunic up from your head. Now stripped, you use the other hand of the tunic to rub the burning pus off. As you lift the fabric from your chest, you look down. You expect to see massive bloody holes, but the skin of your chest is unbroken. However, there are red blotches and black veins emanating from the spot. These black veins are lengthening before your eyes. Oh, that cannot be good. You say, indeed, you have been poisoned by Bazgalach demon, says Egra, regret in a voice. What? You shout, scraping away at your skin. Thank you, shouts Piria on the bar. Please untie us. What does that mean? You say to Egra in your mind. Soon you shall become a Bazlag yourself, says Egra. With the boils and pus? Quickly, Rooster, before they come back, shouts Piria. Exactly, with the boils, perhaps. Before the boils are too many, the skin shall slough off to reveal bone. That's so stupid. Why are you listening to her? No, you shout to the ceiling. You can't just leave us here, shouts the wood elf in his high voice. Going shrill. Please, Rooster, cut us free, says Piria. You feel yourself weakening and knees buckle. No, you shout again. I apologize for trying to slay you, although you did, stammer his wood elf. At least set my wife free. Are gonna do this to me, lemons Piria. Suddenly the black tendrils on your chest retreat, disappear on a moment. Very well, I fixed it, says Egra. If you are to be transformed into a pus-covered demon, it shall be done by me. Yes, you shout. Gods, he's gone mad, says the wood elf. You sheath your sword and sheath your dagger as you walk towards Piria. So we'll cut her free, says the wood elf behind you. Of course, I'm a hero after all, you say, winking at Piria. The half elf stares at you, pleading with her tear-stained eyes. What was all that yelling? No, over then, shouts the wood elf, angry confusion in his voice. I didn't like her calling me Rooster, you say, you feeling your optimism returning. I gave her the name Dragon, but I don't like unnecessary delay, shouts the wood elf. You're helpless. We're helpless. Are you going to be an angry elf? You ask, turning back around. I'll leave you both bound here. Better that than you stabbing me in the back. I have enough to worry about with the demons and other horror roaming about. He will be good, says Piria. Now please, I'm in pain. The elf's face drops. He grits his teeth for a moment, unclenches them. Finally he says, I swear by Atheniel, I try not to harm you if you let us free. You don't know who Atheniel is, but you suppose it's probably someone important to elves. Quickly you turn and cut Piria's bounds, and then move over and cut the roofs binding the wood elf. There's a scream behind you. You spin around, see Piria clutching bloody quill with a nasty barb at the end. Blood trickles down her leg, where she must have just yanked the quill from her face. I don't think that's a good idea to yank those out. Like, I feel like they probably have like barbs inside them. The would be left inside and infect the wound or something. Can you walk? Piria swings the legs off the bar, her ripping away dress revealing her undergarments beneath. She glops down to the floor and grimaces. Have to get them out. She points to her legs. Neville's holes, you say. That will not be pleasant. Hold her down, says the elf. I'll pull them out. I do not think we have properly met, you say the wood elf. I'm Rooster. I thought you wanted to be called Dragon, says Piria, breathing heavy with the pains from the bars in her legs. Why change my mind? Rooster is fine, you say. My friends call me Rooster. The wood elf glares at you. Al Dal Meferise, the wood elf says, his lip quivering up slightly. Oh, you say. Do you mind if I call you Forest? You're a wood elf and all. He shakes his head. Woody, you say. Call me Aldale if you must. He says. Let's get to work, you say, as you take hold of his wife's legs. Okay. Oh, what the fuck was that? It takes about all your strength to keep the thrashing half-elf reasonably still as Adele pulls perhaps a dozen quill from the wife's legs. Adele works fast, nevertheless. It feels like a lifetime. Finally finished, Piria sits up, her legs trembling. We must bind our wounds. Best we do that elsewhere, you say. Although screaming has likely the was likely the sound of dinner to those outside. Pyria nods, sucking in her breath, and limps behind the bar, disappearing behind it. She emerges with a cloth bundle. Upstairs, she nods to the stairway. With you on one side of Pyria and the wood elf on the other, you help her up the stairway. Once in the hall, Pyria motions to Kriya's room. As you enter, you see that everything is as you left it, except for that window is smashed in, glass scattered about. Cool air blows in. Your witch friend paid for the whole month up front, says Pyria. Was not such a poor wench as she lets on, you think. Drala of Drala, daughter no less. Daughter of Drala no less. Pyria sits on the bed, unwraps the cloth to reveal herbs and clean rags and a clay jar. The Luring Virgin Inn is a place for adventurers and adventurers. Why is it written twice? Adventurers and adventurers, okay. Tend to get injuries. This is stupid, I don't get it. I've used this kit many times, says Pyria as she takes off the cover of the jar to reveal dark paste. Draw the curtains, lest we attract the enemy. Pyria starts a fire in the hearth and begins boiling herbs using Kriya's kettle. She mixes the brew with the paste and quickly applies it to her own leg wound. She works with silent, pained intensity. All the festiness you've accompanied is gone. She has a job to do and she is doing it. That's all. Of course, all the torture may have something to do with this. Once she is done tending to her leg wound, she regards you and Adele. Both of you stripped naked so I can have a proper look at you. Thanks to the demon acid, you're already stripped to the waist. You exchange an awkward look with Adele, then shrug as you strip off your trousers. Adele scowls, yet does the same. You try not to look at his elven manhood, naked as you are. I think where did I read this? There was one time they mentioned that the elves have like long but like thin dicks. I think they mentioned this in this one, I think, at some point. I don't remember. Naked as you are, you strap your sword belt back on, keeping your bow unslung. Pyria strips naked too, fully revealing her beautiful half-elf body, although her legs are bandaged up and torso is smeared with blood from nasty scratches near her neck. It's a pity that you have been too drunk the other night to properly appreciate her. All three of you standing naked and bleeding, you smirk. I'm pleased we ended up friends after all. Everyone chuckles in your mind. Adele glares at you, his muscles tensing. I should never call a black-hearted thieving sorcerer a friend. Sorcerer? Ah, well, it would not be the first time I've been accused of enlarging myself by magical means, you say, thrusting out your pelvis with a wink. No, he squeaks. It is because you used witchcraft to impersonate my wife and steal Leliestus. He points at the bow slung on your back. It is because Adele cuts off his own tirade as the sounds of thumping footsteps downstairs, a crash, and shouting in foul language. They're starting to become accustomed to more demons, you think. Pyria extinguished the lamp mounted on the wall, but that has little effect since the cauldron still has a small fire under it. Adele uncorks a flash of water and moves towards the fire in the hearth, and Pyria puts up a hand. No, she whispers. The water must be hot to work in herbs. We shall have to take the chance. That suits you fine. You'd rather not be standing naked in the dark with demons roaming about. Pyria rubs a salve on the side of Adele's head, where her head had been. What? Pyria rubs salve on the side of Adele's head. Okay, Aldale's head, where the ear had been severed off. Right, he cut off his ear. Right. He even says, but thankfully does not cry out. Meanwhile, there are more shouts downstairs, crashes, as though there are wrestling match underway. Tell me your tale. You ask in a whisper. How were you captured? As the enemy approached Aldalome, and I took refuge here, as there are always soldiers and adventurers frequenting this inn, whispers Pyria as she tends to her husband's wound. Sure enough, there are soldiers, but there were not enough. The fiends overwhelmed us, slew the humans outright, but saved us elf for their amusement. Would have helped if I had my bow, is Adele glaring at you, his gritted teeth turning to grimace as Pyria applies cloth gauze over his ear hole, begins to wrap it. Was Bonebrow the captain of the guard among the slain? You say. He often frequented this place. She shakes her head. He was here when all hell broke loose, but quickly left to muster a defense. If he is alive, he's probably in the castle. The castle, you ask. The city completely overrun? All three walls have been breached. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah, the castle will not fall easily. In the center city, our forces fight street by street, says Pyria. Last we heard anyway, says Adele. It's not only fiends against the city, they're at each other's throats too. Pyria nods. The final war continues even here. Demons pitted against devils, as it had been for so many centuries. Demons and devils, you say. I confess I do not know the difference. The goblins and giant are allied, I think, says Pyria. Demons kills goblin as readily as anyone else. You nod. You remember the goblin heads arranged on the table downstairs. Perhaps we can escape the city, you ask. No, says Pyria. It is said that the enemy has created a ring of death around the city. Some great demon lord has decreed that not one soul is to escape. Galmagus, you say? Pyria shrugs as she moves from the Adale's head wound to a nasty gash on his arm. I do not know these horrors by name, she says, only that there is no hope that direction. Better to join Duke and his men. Aletheia is still strong in the center, says Adele as he grits his teeth. By Nefina's sweet breath, we should have joined my cousins in the blessed wood when we had the chance. The city is cursed by the gods. Everyone silent, screams, shouts, and thunder echoes outside the windows, but you hear nothing downstairs at the moment. Are they gone, you wonder? Pyria must be thinking the same thing as she lets out a large exhale and rubs paste on one of her husband's arm wounds.